If you could bring me to Ashford, I could squire for you, sir. And you can teach me. Best you can.
No, I've no need for a squire, lad.
Every knight needs a squire. You look like you need one more than most.
And you look like you need a good clout in the ear.
Clout you. Welcome to the official Game of Thrones podcast, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I am Jason Concepcion.
And I'm Greta Johnson, and today is super exciting. We are so glad to get to be back with you to talk about this first episode of the new series of the Game of Thrones world.
I can't wait. It's just wonderful to be back in Westeros, getting clouded in the air, and to be able to talk about this episode after people have met our friends, Dunk and Egg.
Yes, they do already feel like friends, don't
They do. They really do.
I love that.
We're talking about the premiere episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, written by Ira Parker, directed by Owen Harris.
And Ira is our guest in today's episode.
Very exciting. We're also going to be talking to the series composer Dan Romer, who's done some wonderful and very interesting work throughout this series.
Yes, and just for folks who didn't get a chance, also I want to highlight the fact that we have like a pre-premiere episode already in the feed too. So if you're like, wait, who is Dunk? Who is Egg? Go listen to that. It's a fun episode. Also, it just happens to have an interview with George R.R. Martin in it, which is pretty exciting.
Headline.
So yeah.
George R.R. Martin in the episode.
Worth checking out.
Now, important spoiler warning. Have you watched the first episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms? Maybe you're just like, I want to listen to the podcast. Don't do that.
That's what the pre-premiere episode is for.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Watch the episode.
Yeah.
Do not get spoiled by anything we say here.
Yeah.
Come back and listen to us right after that. Let's get into it.
Yes.
You'd need coin, armour, horses, men, training. The odds would be good. Imagine the poor farmer charging down Lionel Baratheon in the lists.
That would be
A different sort of entertainment.
Well, I'm no farmer.
Yet you've come dressed as one.
Shall we quickly recap what we saw here?
Yes. Will you give us a little summary of this episode?
Yeah, let's do that. We, of course, meet Duncan, who's a squire in the service of the hedge knight Sir Erlen of Pennytree, who sadly has passed away, is getting buried in this moment. You know, Arlen taught Dunk everything he knows, and Dunk now is wondering what he's going to do next with his life, and he kind of decides, you know what, I'm going to take the horses. I'm in need of money, and I'm going to head to this tournament that I've heard about over at Ashford Meadow. Dunk pulls into an inn like a day's ride away from Ashford and meets the stable boy named Egg. He's also eager to become a squire when he finds out that Dunk is a knight. Dunk weirdly takes offense at this kid pitching himself as a squire to him, which I found to be strange. You're struggling with 3 horses. You clearly need help on the road. Why are you turning up your nose at this?
Yeah.
You seem to be struggling with all this gear. Why wouldn't you need a squire?
I get that he would be like mildly offended by someone seeing that he clearly needs help.
Yeah.
You know?
So he rides off towards Ashford alone. He has trouble registering for the tourney because, of course, he has 1, no money, and 2, nobody knows who he is. Kind of a problem.
Yep.
So he goes off looking for a particular knight who remembers him, Sir Manfred, but he can't seem to pin Sir Manfred down because Sir Manfred is indisposed.
Having the time of his
He's
life.
basically having the time of his life before the tourney. He happens to wander into the tent of Sir Lionel Baratheon, Lord of Storm's End. Sir Lionel takes a shine to Duncan. It's just like, you're huge. What's your deal? I'd love to talk to you about the fact that you're massive. Can we talk about it? They hit it off wonderfully. And, Dunk, at the end of this long night of carousing and dancing, is like, hey, I'm trying to enter the tournament. What should I do? And Lionel is like, I don't know. I'm drunk. I don't know. Dunk slinks back to his camp where who should be there cooking a food over a fire than the young stable boy Egg. What are you doing here? He says, taking care of your stuff, cooking you food, helping out just generally. What do you think? Like, take me on? Dunk, kind of against his better judgment, it seems, is like, okay, fine, I'll give you a try. And they fall asleep under the stars.
Gorgeous.
It's heartwarming.
It is heartwarming.
Your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, I have so many thoughts. I mean, there are many details that, of course, we're going to dive into, but overall, I think what's really interesting about this show is that, I mean, clearly it's part of a world that's very familiar to many of us at this point, but it's also a pilot of a new show. And it, I think, really subverts a lot of expectations, especially around tone. I mean,
yes, this is a show that's funny and is trying to be funny.
So yeah, from your point of view, as a book fan, having read the novellas, what's it like seeing the novellas come to life?
It's tremendously fun. I mean, like, Peter immediately embodies what I imagined from Dunk. Just
Peter
like
Claffey.
a Peter Claffey who plays Dunk, who's just like a big, naive, really nice, not dumb, but just kind of innocent guy. And I think that immediately comes through.
Yeah. Well, and immediately you can see the chemistry between Peter Claffey and Dexter Soul Ansel, who plays Egg. And I mean, what a joy to watch them on screen together.
It really is wonderful. Yeah.
I love it. Well, should we dive in?
Yeah, let's
more
talk about
specifically? It. Okay, let's start with the show opening.
Could join the City Watch. Stop raping, sir. Fits my grip as well as it ever fit his. And there is attorney at Ashford Meadow.
I think the way that we undercut what seems like it is setting up to be a heroic moment with the Game of Thrones theme rising up under Dunk staring with determination into the middle distance, and then immediately we smash cut to a severe case of diarrhea. The bubble guts, as I think they say in World. Tells you, I think, everything you need to know in that moment, that this is going to be a different kind of lens through which to view Westeros. So the sound design is so there. It's interesting to find Dunk at this crossroads where the only thing kind of anchoring him to a certain lifestyle is gone, Sir Arlen.
Yeah.
And now he's thinking, do I sell the horses? Do I go to, what do I do with my life? What did you think of his choice? I thought that, in retrospect, the City Watch sounded pretty good.
Yeah, that is an interesting question. I mean, I think since he is at a crossroads, it's like he has to try something out. And so I think that's what we're seeing here. And I think seeing him talking to his horses is so deeply charming, and also really exemplifies how lonely this man is. The fact that these are the only creatures that he can have a conversation with about what's next, I think really speaks to, like, he's so deeply isolated in this world.
Yeah, I mean, that must be a heartbreaking decision to have to come to right after he's buried his father figure, essentially.
Right. Well, and I think, too, this speaks to how strong the pacing is in this show because, I mean, first scene, he's burying his father figure. Second scene, he's literally so lonely that he's talking to horses about what to do next. Next scene, he meets Egg.
Yeah. Shall we talk about young Egg? Let's listen to this clip of him and Dunk meeting at the inn.
I'd be glad Thunder didn't kick you in that fool head of yours. He's a war horse, not a boy's pony.
I could ride him as well as you.
Close your insolent mouth. I'm a knight, I'll have you know.
You don't look to be a knight.
What, all knights look the same, do they?
No, but they don't look like you either. Your belt's made of rope.
So long as it holds my scabbard, it serves.
Are you going to the tourney then? Do you mean to enter the lists?
Yeah, I suppose I do.
First impressions of this confident little kid.
I feel like I keep using this phrase, but he's such a little weirdo. I also love like Dunk walking in and seeing that Egg is already on the horse.
Yeah. I'd love this first meeting. Dunk is huge. And Egg, while clearly acknowledging the fact that he is stepped out of the bounds of propriety and is wearing Duncan's property.
Yeah, insolent is a good word.
Duncan calls him a thief, which I think in this world is, grounds for probably losing a hand. And yet, Egg is like, are you a knight? I don't know. Like, you look poor. Not even just poor. You look destitute.
Yeah.
But then is also immediately after stealing his stuff, kind of insulting him to his face, being like, well, hold on. Like, are you looking for someone to share the road with you? Because I would love to come. And Dunk seems, I mean, he says no, but it also seems like a soft no.
I agree. They just both clearly right off the bat seem really intrigued by each other.
Yeah.
And I think it's for different reasons for each of them.
For sure.
Like Egg seems like he's ready for some new adventure and is just like looking for like a way to get out of there. And Dunk, I think a lot of it is his loneliness. And like, here's this kid who like just like busted into his world so boldly.
Yeah.
That has to be kind of exciting if you've just been talking to horses for days, right?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I also think that there's that moment where Dunk kind of takes a quick look at like what he looks like and then like was like, okay, let me put my hand on my sword, and it says, I'm a knight, I'll have you know. And you could tell that he was excited and nervous to, for the very first time, tell somebody,
yes,
by the way, I'm a knight. Let me put that out there.
Yeah, it kind of feels like he's trying it on, doesn't it?
He's trying it on for the first time. Like, how is this I hope this impresses this kid. And at the same time, Egg is clearly looking to cast off what appears to be a boring life as a stable boy immediately. So you've got two people who are like looking to turn the page in a certain way.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. I also just would love to shout out the fact that when Dunk is in the inn eating, he orders everything on the menu.
I mean, he's a hungry guy. He's a hungry guy and probably dehydrated, as we've seen.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Ashford. First of all, it looks great.
It's beautiful. I love just the natural beauty in this show already is so gorgeous.
The kind of dirtiness of it, the realness of it.
Yes.
The fogginess of it. We get to meet Plummer, played by Tom Von Lawler. And I think what's interesting, too, is kind of like how Plummer frames the tournament as this, ostensibly a name day tournament, but also as a way for Lord Ashford to kind of build his political reputation, like within the realm. This is a time where the Targaryens don't have dragons anymore. And I guess, for lack of a better word, soft power, politicking, getting to know folks is going to be more and more important.
Yes.
And this tournament is part of that, I think, for everyone.
Right. There's definitely like a political angling happening behind the scenes. But I mean, partly what's so interesting about this show is that we're not in those rooms, which we normally would be with a Game of Thrones show.
No, I like that too. It's definitely a new perspective.
Right.
In every scene up to this point. These are not the sort of folks that we would have spent a long time around unless they were like shoving a sword into someone's guts, sadly. So like first step, obviously, I got to check in.
Yeah.
Who can I find that knows, that can confirm my story?
Right.
That is one, Sir Arlen of Pennytree was a guy who existed and was a knight. And two, he knighted me.
Right. So yes, that's how he ends up in Ashford Meadow trying to look for Sir Manfred.
He's napping, sir. Waking for a stag.
Oh yeah. I don't have a stag.
What kind of night don't got a stag?
It's a hedge night, ain't it?
What?
It's like a night, but sadder.
No, I'm not.
It's got to sleep in the hedges because no lord will have it.
Oh, that is sad. And Sir Manfred's fucked its wife, too.
No, I don't have a wife.
Because we're used to husbands coming round.
Likes fucking wives, that one.
Near as much as he likes fucking us.
Sweet Dunk's face. He's so uncomfortable.
Well, anyway, just let Sir Manfred know I came by. It's like... This is Sir Manfred Dondarrion of House Dondarrion. Some may remember Beric Dondarrion from Game of Thrones. He was tasked with hunting down Sir Gregor the Mountain, and then later died and came back.
That's right. Good Lord. That whole thing.
That whole thing. Here's something we talked about in pre-production. Dunk. Some would label him a himbo, meaning a good-looking man with not a lot going on upstairs. Others would say, no, that's not correct.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the burgeoning himbo debate in production?
I think he just has a goal that he is trying to accomplish. And I think that maybe seems simple in this world because so many people are often not actually explicit about what it is they're trying to do.
There's something to that, yeah.
But I think he just knows what he wants and is really focused on that. And obviously is also naive. I mean, he's not comfortable.
He doesn't seem super comfortable. I think that you're right. I think he's naive.
Right? Like he's innocent.
Certainly innocent in the ways of the world,
Right.
in the world of knightly manners, in the world of tournaments. And I think, you know, you're onto something with his mission. He wants to enter the tournament. That's it.
Right.
Hopefully do really well.
Right.
There's no ulterior motive. There's no other political thing. He's looking for Sir Manfred so he can get into the list. That's it.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
It's very straightforward. And I think that reads in this world as, you know, little simple.
Yes. Yes. I think you're right.
And sure, he's not like the most educated guy. We also get to meet at this point one of the stars for me of the show.
Yes.
Lord Lionel Baratheon, Lord of Storm's End. We are familiar, of course, with House Baratheon, one of the strongest allies to House Targaryen. Then, of course, later King Robert Baratheon would overthrow that particular dynasty. Very warlike, a kind of roaring figure. And Lord Lionel is a different sort of Baratheon, I would say. Let's watch the clip.
You've come for my head, then.
What? No. No.
Then why the fuck are you in my tent?
So supper.
Actually makes sense.
What a fun scene.
It's amazing. It's delightful.
I think Lord Lionel is actually kind of processing exactly what you said, which is
Right. Yes.
like, what's your deal? Like,
Yeah.
there's only one reason to be here, which is
Yeah.
you're looking to suck up to me somehow, or you're looking to overthrow me. So which is it? And it's none of those things. And it's at that point that Dunk suddenly becomes interesting to him.
Yes, I completely agree. Well, and I think too, you get a sense in that, you know, when he's like, "What are you trying? Are you trying to overthrow me?" And
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh my God, no!"
Yeah.
Where he's completely mortified that anyone would even think that. But like, you know, a lot of people would have played that out.
Yes.
Internally before walking into a room like that, and
just
Dunk
didn't think about
has
it.
No idea.
He just knows there's donuts in there.
Right, exactly.
And I love this dancing scene because it's more of that, of him trying to be like, are you like, let me try and really figure you out, this
Mhm.
wide-eyed look. Like nobody's really tried that before. Are you really this wide-eyed guy? And then by the end of it, we get, I don't know, is this the only bro out session in Game of Thrones history? Tyrion has had a few bro outs.
That's true. Yeah.
Let me take that back.
Yeah.
Always with ulterior motives, though.
Yes.
But this was, I absolutely love the post dancing.
A bro out from the heart.
Bro out from the heart. You want to try the crown on? You want to try the
Oh
antler
my
cut?
gosh.
Try it out. What'd you think of that scene?
He has a smile that there's like almost a nefarious glint to it, especially initially
really
where
is.
you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
like this might go very wrong.
Yeah.
And I think too, just like having watched a lot of Game of Thrones,
Yes.
like this could go very badly.
Sure, it's a party.
And then to end up like, oh, we're just all dancing. Like it's delightful. Let's move on to the ending of this episode, which is surprise Egg showing up at Dunk's camp. Let's listen to that clip.
Well, Egg, by rights I should beat you bloody, send you on your way. But you look as though you don't eat much. And if you'll swear to do as you're told, I'll let you serve me for the tourney. After that, well, we'll see. I don't have much, but if you prove worth your keep, you'll have clothes on your back and food in your belly. The clothes might be rough spun and food, salt beef and salt fish, but you won't go hungry. I promise not to beat you, except when you deserve it.
Yes, my lord.
Sir, I'm only a hedge knight.
Oh my gosh. I love that scene.
Quite charming.
So why do you think Dunk comes around to Egg this time around?
Because he caught food and is cooking it, and it's probably the best
can smell
food.
the food.
It's fresh food, not salt, whatever. that the stuff that very recently was causing Dunk to have the runs on the road. I think it's a pretty good deal for him, I think. And it's very clearly that Egg, listen, it takes not a little bit of determination and resourcefulness to find him.
Yes. And show up with a cooking. I mean, for Dunk to show up and see the fish cooking and that Egg is there also.
Pretty
is
strong
like,
pitch.
yeah.
And, Ashford, okay, the general vicinity of Ashford, like Dunk is not camped at a place.
Right.
He's just
Just
out
under a tree.
somewhere, and
Yeah.
Egg managed to find him. So this is a kid who he showed up with food. He knows his way around.
Yeah.
He seems eager.
Yeah.
Why not?
So do you think part of Dunk's calculus at this point is like, oh shit, this kid might actually be able to help me out a little bit?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, right? And I think, listen, could have stole the horses, could have stole his stuff, could have made
Yeah.
off with everything and
Totally.
didn't.
Yeah.
And I also think, to your earlier point, Dunk's a lonely guy.
Well, I think too, like I wonder if Dunk also sees in Egg that Egg must be some level of desperate.
Yeah.
If he did track down this lowly hedge knight
I think
because he wants to help him out.
I think that's right. I think he sees something of himself, of his own story in Egg,
Mm-hmm.
of his own relationship with Sir Arlen.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think there's clearly a connection and a need for both of them. I think, what do you think Egg's ambitions are? What does he want from this relationship?
That's a good question. I'm not sure that that's super clear at this point.
Mhm.
Beyond, I mean, it seems to me that that Dunk is providing some sort of ticket for him, but I don't think we really know exactly what.
Yeah, I agree. Now we have a real treat for everyone. We get to talk to showrunner and series creator Ira Parker about this episode. Let's listen to that now. Very excited to be joined by Ira Parker, the executive producer, co-creator, and showrunner of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. You also wrote the first episode. Can't wait to talk to you. Ira, thanks for joining us.
No, of course. Great to be here.
So what initially interested you about the story of Dunk and Egg? I imagine a lot of things.
Look, it's first of all, I guess the world interests me a lot.
You mean like Westeros in general?
Westeros in general, being a fan of the books, obviously getting to do House of the Dragon was a lot of fun. Anything can happen in here, and just you can't help but try and throw some of your own experiences or see some of your own experiences in Dunks. Yeah, guy who just wants just a little bit more, you know, who is trying to convince himself to step out of his comfort zone, which is, I think, one of the hardest things you can do in your life. It becomes so safe and easy to stay exactly rooted where you are. It's familiar, you know, to say I want a little bit more and to actually go for the thing. You know, I would say a lot of people don't do that, and, you know, you do that and you get just hammered down over and over and over again, and, you know, certainly Dunk experiences that. But what I love about these stories is just how hopeful it is and how real they are, how much that there's just a little bits of luck along the way, certain people that just give you a little hand, that say the right thing to you, you know, when it's most needed, when you're feeling sort of the most low and down on yourself. And you get a little bit of that in the book right away. You get Plummer, the steward at Ashford, you know, giving Dunk just a little bit of a like, go and try and do this thing, and then maybe, you know, I'll let you in. And it's just the right people at the right time, where otherwise Dunk could have just turned around and gone home, and you would have had a very different life.
When we first meet Dunk, you know, it's maybe one of the worst days of his life. He's burying his mentor. He's taking care of these horses that he is now responsible for. Tell us about these opening scenes and what they're communicating about who this character is.
Look, he's just lost the only person who knows him in the whole world. You know, the life of a hedge knight, which is basically, you know, a knight errant, a wandering knight, and have sword will travel, is a very lonely life. It's a very hard life. You're out on the road for long periods of time, and, you know, so your squire is really the only person you talk to, probably, beside your horses. Which certainly, you know, Dunk does.
Happens a lot in this show.
Does do. But also losing the only person who knew you in the whole world also gives you an opportunity to decide, do I want to be someone else?
Right.
You know, to take stock of everything that's come before. What have I learned? What have I liked? What have I not liked? What are good parts, you know, I keep, bad parts I try and throw out, even though that never happens, you know? And, you know, where do I see myself? And we watch Dunk go through that exact moment of just trying to figure out what is next for him, which I think just naturally brings you into the story on a very even platform. You know, there's not a lot of information you need to have in order to understand that very simple problem.
I mean, this is a really interesting moment for Dunk. He certainly could be exploring reinventing himself. I mean, we've never seen the moment where he actually is knighted by Sir Arlen. At this point, are we expected to sort of take Dunk at his word? He doesn't seem like a super devious person to me.
No, he doesn't seem that way.
But, I mean, as you say, Sir Arlen really was the only person who really knew him at this point, at least from what we're seeing in the show.
You know, I think hopefully the bigger question we ask from that is, what does it really matter? You know, what, if he was or he wasn't, is that what, you know, the official ceremony of saying, you know, I pass on this knighthood to someone else, a knight making another knight or a king making a knight, is that what makes a good knight? I think Dunk has had a very interesting set of experiences in his life, and obviously that has been corralled by Sir Arlen of Pennytree for a decade now, and it's not like it's an easy thing to do. It's not like anyone can just stand up and say, I'm a knight, here we go. You need things. You need horses, you need armor, you need to be able to fight. Because if you walk in and you say, I'm a knight, and someone says, great, go fight that guy, and you lose your head immediately, it's not going to be very helpful for you. And, you know, to go in and to joust like he's going to, even, you know, if he's knighted, if he's not knighted, that's still one of the toughest things. These guys are professional fighters. You know, this is a guy, you know, who plays some, you know, basketball with his friends after school, all of a sudden, you know, dropping in, you know, to a tryout, you know, for the Lakers. And it's a, oh yeah, right, that's why, you know, people don't do that very often, because they're all going to get, you know, speared by Lionel Baratheon.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so much of what we're seeing, even in this first episode, is that idea that, like, what does it mean to be a knight? And, you know, Dunk had this vision of people living up to certain moral standards, and the more people he meets, the more he realizes that's not actually the case.
Yeah, look, I think hopefully what people take away from this first season, that, that Sir Arlen, he just tried to be a benefit to the people around him.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately, hopefully, what it comes down to, whether or not you have the name and the arms and the armor. If you're, you don't even have to be a good person, you don't even have to be a moral person, but if you try and help out, in the immediate vicinity, you don't have to go off and, change the entire course of, history in the realm. You just have to help the guy next to you that's, struggling at the moment. And I think Dunk has, as we will see, sort of takes that as his guiding light and, maybe gets him into a little bit of trouble.
So the end of this episode, Dunk's on his own. He goes back to his camp, and Egg's there. Dexter, who plays Egg, is so phenomenal.
Yeah.
What a revelation to have found him, huh?
You know what? Very first email from my casting director, very top, number one, literally, Dexter Saul Ansel. Clicked on the link, watched the audition. That's the guy. Great. Let's sign him up. Casting directors, oh, hold on one second, let's watch everyone first.
So wait, you literally had not watched any of the other
Nothing. No, we had been sent no Dunks. We had been sent no anyone else.
Wow.
Egg, that was the first thing that we saw. Dexter was literally number one on that list. And anyways, we did, obviously do the big, long, many months long process and due diligence. And we came all the way back to the beginning. And
he's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if that's not kismet or whatever you want to call it, one of one.
Their chemistry is incredible. You mentioned just watching them together for 2 minutes, you can get the entire story. What was it like watching that unfold?
Oh, I mean, the final round of auditions, just the chemistry reads between them when we had a few different pairs that we were matching and throwing together. I mean, my director, Owen Harris, and I were sitting in that room, and we just looked at it as soon as they, stood next to each other. This is the show. This is easy. Good. We can all go home now. You guys just, go figure it out.
Last question. At the end of this first episode, where is Dunk after everything that's happened up to this point? Is he ready to be a knight?
No.
Okay.
No.
Hard no.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
It's like every time, I don't know about you guys, but every single time you get a no when you're trying to do the thing that you're trying, you could very easily take that as see, it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
I should go back and I should, stop doing this thing. I should stop trying. And if Egg doesn't show up, who knows? He's just suffered a big disappointment. Maybe he takes his marbles and goes home. But again, it's one of those little, sort of brushes with people in your life that just push you a little bit forward. This kid came all the way from wherever he was and seeked Dunk out. And, having somebody even just to talk to, another, heartbeat nearby, fills you with just a little extra bit of confidence, that you need to go forward. And so he's going to get there, but his journey will be long. Yeah.
Ira, thank you so much for talking with us. This is really
thanks,
a pleasure.
guys.
It was so great to talk to Ira. It was cool.
It was. Such interesting insights about adaptation. And he's in such a unique place, I think, with this show compared to the other Game of Thrones stuff that's come out.
Yeah, it's so much smaller scale, and his embrace of that.
Yes.
It's going to be really interesting to see, where this show goes.
Mm-hmm. And I am very excited to say also that we're going to talk to him after the finale episode as well. So we'll get a full sense of the
full
season from him.
spoiler interview with Ira Parker.
Also today, we are having a conversation with Dan Romer, who did the music for this show. And I mean, already just in this first episode, you can tell it's so unique, so interesting.
Yeah,
so
the
I'm really
music,
excited for this.
The music is such a standout. Let's listen to that interview.
Our next guest is Dan Romer. He's an Emmy-nominated composer. He's written the score for movies like Luca and Beasts of the Southern Wild and shows like Station 11. And he also wrote the wonderful music for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Dan, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I'm so excited to get to talk to you about this music because I think it's so special.
Oh, thank you.
What was it like when you first like got the call that you've been tapped to make the music for the next Game of Thrones? I mean, that's got to be a trip, right?
It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I mean, yeah. I mean, I love Game of Thrones so much, and it was so incredible to hear that that they were considering me as the composer, and then finding out about the musical world they wanted to do. It was like, this makes me so happy to like have it, have this world to work in, and then specifically something that felt so tailored to what I love doing.
Talk to us about how you created this music, the kind of collaboration involved in scoring this series.
Yeah, I mean, working on this music with Ira was like such a dream. It was so wonderful. And we kind of wanted to do this more handheld instrument kind of thing. We're using a lot of guitar.
Yeah.
We're using a good amount of piano. We were trying to kind of like not make the music feel quite as grand in scope as the original Game of Thrones. It's a smaller story. It's a more kind of contained story about Dunk and Egg. So we kind of wanted to create this sort of like handheld, sort of like, I don't know, sort of like brawler middle class kind of music, and not as much of this gigantic royal music,
There's a real almost Western feel to some of the pieces, with this kind of like waltzing, whistling, acoustic guitar piece.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just Josue Greco whistling. He's an incredible composer, and he whistled on Luca. He's been, a dear friend and a great composer and an amazing collaborator for a long time. And his whistling will break your heart. If you hear him whistle Somewhere Over the Rainbow, it destroys you.
Oh, wow.
It's so beautiful.
Oh my God.
I hope that one day you'll get to hear it.
I would love to hear that.
That's amazing.
But yeah, there was definitely like a bit of a feeling of like, how do we make this sort of feel like a Western, but not sound like a Western, sort of? Like, we were like, we can't just go like full spaghetti Western style.
Right.
We need to keep this grounded in Westeros. It needs to feel like that kind of a thing. And so it was a bit of a challenge kind of figuring out how to do that instrumentally, but I think we got to a place we're really happy with.
Well, it's interesting because there are also some pretty jazzy elements throughout the season too.
Yeah, I love that observation. That makes me so happy to hear. Yeah, I mean, it's a different show from the original, and the score is so incredible in the original, and we're just trying to find a way to sort of let it sit next to it in an interesting way where it feels different but still feels of the same world.
So when you're going to drop something more jazzy or more Western inflected into a scene, how does that work? Do you talk it through with Ira and then you go do several samples and then say, what about this? Or do you come up with something on your own? How does that process work?
Well, Ira and I sat down for many hours before we did one thing to picture. We just sat down and played with a bunch of instruments. We wrote some themes. I sat there writing melodies, and he would kind of, ask for different shapes while I was writing them. And then once we had melodies we were happy with, he would say, okay, now let's hear it on this instrument. Let's hear it on this instrument. Let's hear it on this instrument. And we kind of just like tried all these different permutations of the melodies from the show. So it was a really like collaborative process, and then as we went, we did more back and forth. But yeah, I mean, I think Ira had this kind of vision of what it would sound like and feel like, and we spent a lot of time up front figuring that out.
You mentioned the idea of like really letting story sort of like be your guide as you move forward with figuring out what themes are. I would love to hear, like, are there specific characters or maybe even specific moments that like really informed what you wanted to do as you created the music for the show?
Yeah, there's a Dunk theme and there's an Egg theme. And I don't want to talk too much about the other themes that happen. They kind of like wind around in certain ways and come in and out as it goes. But yeah, I felt like I wanted to have a fairly strong, like a melody that you recognize as that melody for each of them. And character themes can often be tough in certain things, because especially with like TV, often you sort of just want a more general theme that's not like it only happens when this character is there. And it can totally work that way too. It can work so many different ways. I mean, if you watch Lost, like that score has, that score is incredible. And, there's a lot of very specific character themes and it works incredibly well. I wanted to create themes for both of them that could be played in a lot of different harmonies and still feel like the actual theme. So they felt kind of like malleable through the show.
Do you recall what the first piece you wrote for the show was?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was ultimately linear. Like I think I wrote the first 10 minutes of music first.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, yeah. I mean, the main first theme that you hear when you hear Dunk's theme at the beginning, that was definitely the first thing I wrote. And then we were kind of playing with the different ways that Dunk's theme could be used throughout the show. And the first big cue, we settled on it after trying a couple different things. That felt like once we put that piece there, we were like, okay, this is how the show's gonna work. I mean, I wanted most of the music to sort of feel like people could be making it, on the side of the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It feels to me like a sitting around the fire kind of vibe too, where you are like, you're on the road and you're stopping for the night. And so like somebody takes out an instrument and starts playing it,
Totally. I mean, my first film score, my first feature I ever did was Beasts of the Southern Wild.
Yeah.
And that was a co-score between me and Ben Zeitlin, the director. And so I came from producing, albums growing up. I grew up producing albums and stuff. In my 20s, that's mostly what I did. And so I didn't know how a composer is supposed to work. I kind of made it up on my own. I never worked for another composer. I was never in that world until I started doing it.
Wow.
So, I just sort of, whatever the process seems like it wants to be,
right.
And is what it is. And I'll talk with the showrunner or the director about how they want to do it. And we'll kind of find a way that we're happy working, but there's, so many different ways to work and they can all yield great results.
Yeah, I was going to say that seems like one where there are probably pros and cons to any version of that. And so you just kind of work with what works.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
Were you a trained musician or is this something like you just picked up?
Yeah, I was studying opera singing in high school.
Okay.
I went to LaGuardia.
LaGuardia.
Yeah, the Performing Arts School in New York.
Cool.
Fame.
The Fame School.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting to hear that you have a background in opera singing, just because, I don't know, something I keep thinking about when I spend time in this world is like, why can't we just all go to operas instead of watch jousts?
That sounds great. I would love to go to an opera at any time. Or I mean, I would absolutely rather go watch an opera than a joust, personally.
Right?
Yeah. Actually, there is a moment of kind of like classical operatic singing in the show that happens a bit later. And I can't sing that way anymore. I've lost that ability to do that. So I got some incredible singers in to do it, and it's for sure one of my favorite moments of the show.
Well, Dan Romer, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah. I loved that conversation so much. I mean, fun. I think like this show clearly has such a different tone from the other Westeros shows that we've had.
Yes.
And the music clearly just contributes to that so much.
Now let's go to a new segment. We will be ending every episode with an award segment. Most Valuable Night. This award will go to the person, animal, or thing. And usually it's going to be a person who we feel most embodies the knightly qualities that are very ambiguous, but that we will highlight through this award. The only rules, I guess, are that we can't pick Dunk or Egg because that would be too easy, and no repeats.
Oh, okay.
No repeats. So you pick them once and that's it.
That's fair.
Greta, your most valuable night.
I want to choose Lionel Baratheon.
Great one.
He's so brash.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways you could argue he has very few knightly qualities. But I'm going to make the argument that curiosity is knightly.
Okay.
And the fact that Lionel's like, what's this guy up to?
I love that.
And then also is like, let's just dance.
Love it.
I think is really, those are virtues, you know?
You know what? I'm going to agree with you. I'm also going to pick Lord Lionel Leo Baratheon, as I call him. I love his speech where he's just like, 4,000 years ago, somebody invented jousting. I don't know. We don't know who did that. And blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, great one. I just thought he was unlike any character that we've met in this world up till now.
Yes.
And certainly, you know, as one of the high lords of the realm, we've really never met a guy like this. So I really enjoyed his scenes, and I completely agree with you. Yeah. Most valuable knight! I dub thee!
Oh my gosh. Well, it feels very good to be back with you, Jason. This is such a pleasure.
It's wonderful
We're
to be
doing
back
it.
here, yeah. Sir Greta.
Thank you, Sir Jason.
Yes, wonderful to be back here. The second episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms comes out Sunday on HBO and HBO Max. And be sure to join us wherever you get your podcasts right afterwards to hear us talk about the second episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and break it down with Sir Duncan himself, Peter Claffey.
Yes. And yeah, if you like what you're hearing and watching, don't forget to leave a rating and review on your podcast player of choice. You can find us on the Game of Thrones social media handles. You can also watch us on HBO Max. That's right. You can watch the podcast on HBO Max.
Whoa.
And you can follow me on Instagram at Greta M. Johnson. I have a podcast called Happy to Be Here. And I'm on Substack as Gretagram.
You can find me also on Instagram at NETW3RK. I have a podcast called X-Ray Vision, and so you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. The official Game of Thrones podcast, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, is produced by HBO in collaboration with Same Boat Studios. This podcast is hosted by Greta Johnson
and Jason Concepcion, who also produces the show. Our executive producers for Same Boat Studios are Gabrielle Lewis and Barry Finkel. Our senior producer is Ben Goldberg, and the show is mixed by Hannes Brown. Our video editor is Stefano Sanchez, and In-Sung Huang is our digital content producer.
Special thanks to Michael Gluckstadt, Allison Cohen-Sorokach, and Kenya Reyes from the HBO Max podcast team.
Thanks for listening. We will see you all next week.
And remember, as Leo Baratheon said, don't slouch. Be tall.